Hey. I am your humble host, Fizz Ed Music, and this right here is Urban Politics. Want to thank you all for liking and subscribing as you do. Please, as soon as this video is over, take yourself on over to YouTube, like and subscribe. Fizz Ed Music, Urban Politics, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, though, I want to jump right into this like a car and drive because there's all types of tasty and delicious politics for us to sink our teeth into. First of all, let's go on and talk about a little bit of sports. First of all, if you've been watching my show and you are a person of color and you still support the NFL, you should have your head checked. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because here's another reason to hate the NFL. Brett Favre. That's all I'm going to say. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm going to go ahead and refresh your memory about how this guy is a royal POS. Brett Favre. Anyway, check me out. Brett Favre stealing funds from poor people in Mississippi to build a volleyball facility. I know you heard the stories. Let's run the laps real quick. Check me out. Brett Favre got $100,000 due to go to impoverished Mississippians to fund a volleyball facility. He got caught through text messages that he himself was afraid would be seen by the public. In the text messages, he's telling this lady, Miss Nancy New, are you sure people won't see this? And da-da-da. And then she even hits him back like, yeah, I understand how you would be afraid about people seeing these text messages. But he was texting, thinking people would not see them. Anyway, check me out. Nancy New was in charge of distributing these funds. She has pled guilty to fraud and is working with state prosecutors. She gave him $4 million for the volleyball project, then gave him another $1.1 million for radio ads. The Mississippi welfare system is under investigation. Mr. Favre is not involved in this investigation. He paid back the $1.1 million. So that was the caveat they gave here. They said Mr. Favre is not involved in the obvious investigation that the Mississippi welfare system is coming under because this woman, Miss New, thought it was cool to give money earmarked for poor people in Mississippi, one of the poorest place in America. We'll get to those numbers in a minute, ladies and gentlemen. You know how I love the numbers. We'll get to those numbers in a minute, but it's one of the poorest places in America, and Miss New thought it was cool to go ahead and give Brett Favre $5 million. $4 million for his little volleyball project and another $1.1 million in ads. So there's that. But they left Mr. Favre out of the investigation, probably because he's an NFL legend. Probably because this would be something that looks horrible and will besmirch his name forever. But they left him out of it. Their caveat is because, he paid the $1.1 million back. Really? She gave him $1.1 million for ads. He gave that back. So he's not a part of this investigation that the Department of Justice has opened up on the Mississippi welfare system. So there's that. Mississippi welfare system is under investigation. Mr. Favre, like I said, is not involved. Brad Pigott, P-I-G-O-T-T, was hired by the state to find some $77 million in missing funds, right? Right. So when this guy brought up the Brett Favre fiasco, he was quickly fired. Got him out of there, obviously, because they're trying to sweep this thing under the rug. And they're like, the obviously one of the things that can account for this $77 million that's gone was this $6 million fiasco with Mr. Favre. But we don't want to talk about that. Sweep that up under the rug and go find other places where this money went, right? So he got fired for even bringing that up. The Mississippi governor told Brett Favre that this is probably illegal. They said that Brett Favre kept pressing him for money for this volleyball project or whatever. And he told him, hey, Mr. Favre, this is probably illegal what you're trying to do. This lady, Nancy New, obviously she's a big football fan or a big Brett Favre fan or just an idiot or just doesn't care about poor people or digs stealing from poor people because she gave him $5 million towards this. You know, she was responsible with distributing those funds to poor people who need those funds. She saw fit to give it to Brett Favre for a volleyball facility. Why? I guess Brett Favre's daughter plays volleyball, so that's something near and dear to his heart. Anyway, that's pathetic that they would steal from these poor people in Mississippi for a volleyball project. Think about volleyball. Volleyball? Even if it had been a football stadium or something like that, it'd still be egregious, it'd still be reprehensible, it'd still be garbage. But the fact that it was volleyball really is mind-blowing to me. Anyway, the poverty rate for Mississippi is 19.58%. That's huge. 19.58%. How huge is that? They are the poorest state in America. Google this. I just did for the show. Had to Google it. I'm not going to lie. In my mind, I knew Mississippi was the poorest state in the union. But then when I looked it up, I'm like, Jesus H. Christ. They are the poorest state in the union. So Brett Favre was stealing from the poorest among us, right? Check this out. They have the highest rate of child poverty at 27.9%. So he was stealing from poor kids. 18.8% of residents live in poverty in Mississippi. Right? So this is the poorest state in the union with poor kids, poor mom and dads, and he thought it was in his best interest to take $5 million that the government was trying to give these poor people to maybe better their lives to use towards a volleyball facility. And then he thought that 1.1 million of it would also be better used, not feeding poor people, but running some ads for his volleyball facility. That's garbage, man. He is a royal POS. Anybody within the earshot of my voice, you know what I'm saying, who knows Brett Favre, let him know that Phys Ed Music of Urban Politics said that guy is a royal POS. How are you stealing from some of the poorest people in America when you have made millions off of the NFL? Millions Brett Favre has made off the NFL. That man eats good. He sleeps on a bed of cash each night. He's a football legend. I don't even mess with football. If you watch this show, you know my sports is politics. But I know enough about the name Brett Favre. I've heard that enough to know that he's big stuff when it comes to football. And the fact that that man, of all people, would rob the poor. That's what lets you know. Some of these millionaires and billionaires, they sit on high and they don't give up about nobody poor. They don't care about anybody but themselves. Because I cram to understand that. I cram to understand that. How you could have hundreds of $1 million, but still think it's okay to rob poor people. Some of the poorest among us. Mississippi is one of the states that's doing the worst among us. So you rob them? Whatever. Once again, I go on record as saying it. If you're a person of color and you still support and watch the NFL, you should have your head checked, right? And you should feel bad about that. And you need to stop doing that because these guys ain't worth a quarter. None of them. And Mr. Favre shows you right there. Here's a legend. This guy ain't worth a quarter. Robs poor people. Steals from poor people who ain't got it. This guy's got it 10 times over. Anyway, moving on. I'm had enough of that. Let's talk about DeSantis. This guy playing political games with the lives of immigrants. I know you've seen the stuff on the TV. I know you've seen the lawyer for the immigrants. And she was talking about how these people got done dirty. Let's talk about it. Hey, this guy uses taxpayer money earmarked for COVID to ship immigrants to Texas, or to ship immigrants from Texas to Martha's Vineyard. Now you say to yourself, why does the governor of Florida care about Texas? This doofus is going to say, oh, well, I went ahead and grabbed these immigrants from Texas because I knew they were on their way to Florida. Really? Really? Now you a mind reader or something? Now you Chris Angel or something, bro? You all over people's heads? Now you could read the minds of these immigrants who were in Texas and knew that at some point they'd be trying to make their way to Florida. This is garbage. This is political theater at its worst. Okay, so they found these people in a restaurant in Texas and lied to them about where they were going. Changed path in mid-flight. Dropped them off in Martha's Vineyard during the off-season. That's what we're in right now. This ain't the summertime no more. So all really the rich and high-profile people, the president and all those people who be in Martha's Vineyard, the people who they were trying to inconvenience with this, they weren't even there. So that shows you that the GOP, once again, ain't even doing its homework. The people you're trying to get at ain't even at Martha's Vineyard right now. Anyway, during the off season with no warning to anyone on Martha's Vineyard so that they could provide aid. And that's what the lawyer was on TV saying. She said they purposely dropped these people here, gave them like a rudimentary, some weird type of map while they were in the air, let them know, oh no, we're not going to where we told you we're going. We're going now to this other place, and here's a map of it, and da 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 blah 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 woof of wood, because they're trying to make a political point. It's all political theater. So here you go, playing with lives, not even from people in his state. Think about that. Here's a guy who never wanted to believe that COVID was real, wanted to believe it was a real thing. Hundreds of thousands, maybe I'm exaggerating, thousands of Floridians dying in hospitals behind COVID. DeSantis like, that ain't nothing. It's theater. And then that's what he told those high school students who had the audacity to wear masks while they were at his rally or whatever. Talking about, we have to stop this theater. Please take those masks off. We have to stop this theater. Theater? These kids is trying to live because they know in your state people getting COVID and dying by the truckload, but DeSantis, he don't want to feel that. He don't want to hear that. So in his effort to be more Trumpian than anybody else, because please make no mistake, he's all up that guy's because he's trying to get the nomination here for president, right? So he's got to be more Trumpian than Trump. So this dude takes money from COVID, money that was earmarked from the federal government for COVID because your state has some of the highest COVID deaths in America, takes that money and uses it for this political theater, uses it for a stunt to grab some migrants from here and throw them in Martha's Vineyard, hoping that would jam up the works in Martha's Vineyard. The people there would be all frazzled and crazy. And what happened? People in Martha's Vineyard came together. Started supporting these people, got them some housing, put this whole thing on blast. Now, the immigrants have filed a suit against DeSantis. Good. And they were saying that this could be something to really take him down because that's illegal. Using money that was earmarked for COVID and then putting it into this, something that is so, so contrived, so much political theater. He might end up having to answer for this. He might end up having to step down for it. It would be great. That'd be the best thing ever happened to Florida if DeSantis had to step down behind this garbage. Because it's these games that the GOP plays. It's these games. And all it's about is trying to seem more Trumpian to the trumpeters. Being beholden to that base. That's pathetic. It's garbage. He does not deserve his job. He does not deserve to be the governor of Florida. He's reprehensible. He's egregious. He's disgusting. Get him out of there, ladies and gentlemen, if you live in Florida. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about Rubio versus Demings. Now, Val Demings, that sister, was on the short list for vice president. So right now, it's Vice President Kamala Harris. It could have been Vice President Val Demings. She was that close. But they went with Kamala. That's cool. 49%. Well, right now, Demings, of course, is running against Rubio for a Senate seat in Florida. And she's close to unseating an incumbent, which is huge. It's hard to get rid of an incumbent. You know what I'm saying? Rubio is the incumbent. Just means he's been there. He's got the apparatus. He knows how to keep that job. He knows who to talk to, how to talk to him, what he needs from him, what ads to run them, where to run them, all that. He has the apparatus. So it's hard to get out an incumbent because they have the apparatus. They've already done it. They've done this thing a couple of times. So they're going to know how to do it a little bit better than you, who might be coming in fresh, only done it 1 or 2 times, right? So there's that. But Rubio versus Demings. 49% people are digging Rubio. 47% are digging Demings, which is interesting because him being an incumbent, his numbers should be a lot higher than 49%. You got to think Rubio, that's a name that you know. Some of them there, they know and they trust. Why is Miss Demings, only a couple of points behind you? So that right there raises some eyebrows, for the Rubio camp. Independents favor Rubio, but they also like that. I mean, I think they favor Rubio. Independents favor Rubio by like 50-some%. And then the independents, they favor Demings by 37%. So he's beating her there. Rubio also has a 10-point lead with suburban voters. Demings is carrying urban voters by 14 points. So a lot of those suburban voters, let's just keep it real, they are, white people. So a lot of them, like I said, they know Rubio, they've heard the name, they dig that guy. Some of them are conservative, so of course they're voting with Mr. Rubio. But it looks like the city, it looks like the hood. Miss Demings is carrying the hood. 14% over him with urban areas. Whenever you hear that word, urban areas, as far as in reference to radio or anything, when you're urban, think black. So there it is. She got the hood. She's one with the hood. That's great to hear. That sister got black folk support, right? 14% over Rubio. Rubio, 41% view him favorably. 51% view him unfavorably, to where Ms. Demings, 40% view her favorably, while 47% view her unfavorably. 13% were unsure. There it is. These are good numbers, ladies and gentlemen. It'd be interesting to see if she unseated him. Now, I'm not going to lie. A lot of people have said, hey, look, Republicans have held that seat for like 2 or 3 other Republicans had it before Rubio. So they've held this seat for a long time. So will she upend incumbent Rubio and get this seat? It would be great. That'd be amazing. But it's still slim. They're saying that this race is leaning Republican just because it always has. That district always votes in a Republican. So, but her numbers look really, really good, and it would be quite the upset if she got Mr. Rubio out of there and and got that Senate seat. So we're gonna sit here, as Miss Maddow would say, I'm gonna steal that from her. Watch this space. Watch this space, because your boy will report on it because it's hot politics, right? All right. In Florida, the Florida governor, Ron DeSantis, who we were just talking about with the political theater, the guy who's running over here to Texas, getting immigrants to send them to Martha's Vineyard to try and make some type of political point or something about immigration. That garbage person, that POS, that dude, he is 7 points ahead of his Democratic challenger, Charlie Crist. 52% dig DeSantis, 45% are digging Crist. That's still not so bad. Not so bad. I don't love it. Really, this says more about the Republican Party than anything, because with all that crap that DeSantis is doing, he's just more popular with the base. He's more popular with the Republican Party because all they're concerned about is sticking it to the libs. They don't care that this guy uprooted human beings. These are people, right? They have lives, they have wives, they have husbands, they have family, they have cousins, they got brothers, they got sisters. These are people just like you or I. He lied to them, got them in the air, lied to them again, and then just threw them in some place. Now, luckily, this place, Martha's Vineyard, had people there who were thoughtful enough and caring enough to embrace these people and try to help them, but it did not have to go down like that, and they weren't expecting it to go down like that. That's the big piece of this story. Think about that. He did this to be mean. He did it to be malicious. He did it to drop these people off at Martha's Vineyard and hope that they just had a horrible time. Hope that they were living on the streets, drinking rainwater out of their hands with no food, no money, no nothing, living on the street. This is what he wanted. So he's upset that it didn't go down like that. So we need to think about that. We have a governor who had malicious intent when he sent these people to Martha's Vineyard. Went to another state to find people to send to Martha's Vineyard, to have some political theater, to make some political point that backfired in his face. Remember that. That's why I am hoping that they got a case against this mofo. Because my God, if anybody needed some type of accountability, it's DeSantis. Because all he did right here was try to be more Trumpian than the trumpeters. You know what I'm saying? Or be the most Trumpian among the trumpeters. I got no respect for that. That guy needs to go down in flames. He needs to lose his job. He really needs some criminal accountability. That ain't gonna happen. This is politics. But if in the least bit, he needs to step down from that position. So there's that. DeSantis, most popular politician in Florida State right now. 14 points more popular than Chris. That's sad. But once again, that says a whole lot about the Republican Party, don't it? Yeah, he's the most popular politician in Florida. With the antics this guy's pulling. You know what I'm saying? With that fiasco, with that Martha's Vineyard fiasco, he's still 14 points more popular than Chris. That's just pathetic, man. I'll tell you, only in Florida, though. Charlamagne the God on the Power Morning Show, he always talk about how the craziest people come from Florida and Brooklyn. Look at these politics. That's for real, ain't it? Anyway, Now I want to talk a little bit of pop culture. Just a little bit of pop culture. Before I get up out of here, I do got an IPA of the week for you, and it's a stunner. But hold up, before I get to that, let's talk about a brother whose music I really, really like. PNB Rock. Man, that dude got a song called I Like Girls Who Like Girls. I love that song. That song is the bomb. I think the dude who's featured in Little Skies or whatever. So that's a song of his that I really like. Sad to hear rest in peace to PNB Rock. He was murdered. I guess the story was that he was out with his lady. She posted on Instagram where they were at. Somebody came through there, wanted to get his jewels, wanted to rob him. I don't know if he came up off the jewelry or didn't come up off of it fast enough. He got shot. He got killed. That gentleman, I say that loosely, that dude is still at large. His lady was saying that she deleted her Instagram account and all of that. This is sad. That's so sad. You know what I'm saying? But that's where we're at in this country. That's where we're definitely at in the hip hop culture. Are you serious? Now, number one, everybody knows you don't go. And a lot of people were saying this was kind of his fault because he was flossing in an area that he wasn't from. And they were saying if you come up in that area and you wearing your truck jewelry, as they used to call it back in the day, your dookie chains, your truck jewelry, all of that good stuff, and you get robbed, you brought it on yourself because the people in that area are hungry. And if they see you flossing, they're going to run up on you. They're going to take what you got. That is what it is. Like I said, his lady deleted her account because they're thinking that people seen the post that she was putting up, and that's how, dude knew where he was at, rolls up on him to rob him. This ain't nothing new. Heck, 50 Cent, the rapper, got his name from a real guy, 50 Cent, that was his whole thing, robbing rappers. And I think even, you see the documentary, Eric B. and Rakim were talking about how they grew up with 50 Cent, they knew him, so he be in the bushes or whatever, and they doing a show, they come out seeing him and be like, 50, come on, man. We're not on that tonight, bro. You ain't robbing nobody up in here, man. Come out them bushes and chill out, bro. But they knew him like that. But they said a lot of rappers in the industry, he did rob. So 50 Cent, kind of took on that name. He did take on that name. You got to see the documentary because 50 Cent even paid for this guy's headstone because he took on his name, So it is what it is. My point with that is robbing people, that ain't nothing new in hip hop. It's sad that they had to kill this brother. My goodness. You know what I'm saying? It's sad enough you got to rob a man, but then you got to murk him for his chains, for his jewelry, for some money? What's going on? But that's where we're at in this country. That's where we're at in this culture. Another thing, though, that helps you kind of understand this whole thing, when you think about the fact, okay, there's a DJ Academics, and he was saying that old school artists are dusty. His whole thing is, and LL Cool J, responded. I think Erykah Badu responded. But his whole thing is how y'all create a genre, how y'all create hip hop, and all of y'all are dusty and all of y'all are broke. And I'm like, well, dang. Number one, this guy ain't paying attention because there's plenty of old school hip hop artists who aren't broke, who are just doing other things right now. Ice Cube is making movies. Ice-T has been all over Law and Order and doing commercials and stuff. So, and those are old school artists. Those are some of the pioneers of this thing we call hip hop, right? Right. So they're not dusty. They're not broke, so I don't know what Academics is talking about. I get it. A lot of these kids, they just don't. They don't get it. They don't understand. And I was listening to the Power Morning Crew, and it was good. Charlamagne the God was having a conversation with DJ Envy, and DJ Envy said it best. These young guys, they stand on the shoulders of these old school artists. You stand on the back of these old school artists. Jay-Z even talked it best. And H to the Izzo, he said that. He said, I'm overcharging y'all for what you did to the Cold Crush. See what I'm saying? So he even knows. Y'all never paid these brothers right. So I'm going to overcharge y'all for the money that Biz Markie didn't get. I'm going to overcharge you for the money that Big Daddy Kane didn't get. There's another person still doing it big. Big Daddy Kane. I follow that brother on Instagram. He's still rocking good, looking good, doing shows, all that good stuff. He ain't dusty. He ain't bummy. What you talking about, Academics? What are you talking about? And I also like how LL set him straight. And he said there's a real problem in our community, in our industry, as far as black folk in hip hop, with thinking that money is the end all of success. We've been on that for a while. We need to get off of that. But for whatever reason, especially the kids feel like, oh man, if you ain't got that bread, then you ain't doing it. You ain't a legend. How are you a legend? How are you a pioneer? You ain't got no money. One has nothing to do with the other. Please, people, don't get it twisted. I love money. I don't have enough of it. Always trying to get more of it, right? But guess what? It is not everything. I've gone on record on this show as saying that to everybody across every board. Money is not everything. It's great. It makes life easier. It makes life smoother. But it's not everything. And academics, you and some other young folk, get up off of that. Just because an artist is made of money doesn't mean they have any talent. Anyway, just because an artist is made of money doesn't mean they have any talent. One does not correlate to the other. There are plenty of talented artists who aren't making the money that they should be making. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't have anything to do with them not being talented or not being good. It has to do with this industry and how we've let other people dictate things in the industry who don't give a damn about the industry or about the culture, right? So that's what's really going on. So come on now, get that together. But I do agree. I like how LL broke that down and said there's a real problem with people running around thinking that if somebody doesn't have money or they're not financially successful, that they're nobody or they didn't have any type of impact on this thing called hip hop. And that is just, man, that is so short-sighted. Academics, you should know better than that. That's what I'm saying. Have you been paying attention? Have you been watching, my brother? Holler at me and I will tell you. There's some things you need to know, but you got the story messed up right there. Because money doesn't have anything to do with it. There are plenty of artists who have all types of spins, make all types of bread, and they suck. Couldn't pay me to listen to their music. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about my IPA of the week. This is a good one. This one is Sonder, You Betcha. Yep, You Betcha by Sonder. It's a hoppy hazy NE IPA. I don't know what that means, NE IPA. Sounder, the realization that each person is uniquely crafted. Each person is really uniquely crafted. This beer is uniquely crafted. It's delicious. It's good. It goes down pretty smooth. What is it here? Let me see here. If they even got it on here. I'm almost sure it's like 5.0%. Alcohol or something like that. Look, they ain't even really got it. Oh, here it is, 6.5. Excuse me, 6.5% alcohol. So, like I said, it's a good IPA. A little higher than that 5.0s you usually see with most beers. So this is something good. Got a little bit of money in your pocket. You run out here and get your You Betcha Hop Hazy IPA by Sonder. Good stuff right here, ladies and gentlemen. Well, guess what? That is my time. This right here is Urban Politics. I'm your humble host, Phys Ed Music. I'd like to thank you all for liking and subscribing as you do. Please, as soon as you have a chance, run on over to YouTube, like and subscribe. I am Phys Ed Music, Urban Politics, where politics lives. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, see you around like a donut.